designed to inspire, educate, and empower young adults around the world. Welcome to the Monday Inspiration Show. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the Monday Inspiration Show. It's Monday, and if it's Monday, we get again inspiration. My name is Ungriano. I'll be your host today. I'm the author of the book Love.Dream, the founder of the company Raise the World, and the Monday Inspiration Show host. Today, we have someone very special in the house. I'm also very excited, and also I got emotional when I see him after a very long time. I don't know him somehow. I have a very strong connection with this person. I respect him so much. He's one example for me, inspire me in everything I do. And saying thank you, I invited him to the show. Please help me to invite him in the show. He's a great leader, a person who really creates a positive impact in the community, and he is really also a humanitarian. He's passionate about people growing, educating, developing, and inspiring, and mainly empowering. So today he will be here with us, speaking about himself a little bit and what he does and how he does things and why is his why behind everything he do. So please help me to welcome Ich Loc in the show. Welcome me to the show.
Thank you very much, Inuit. Wow, I'm honored to be here. Thank you for having me here.
Thank you for accepting our invitation. I was wondering and searching for this for a long time. I'm really honored as well to have you in the show. I was waiting this for a very, very long time. I remember back in time when I started, I didn't know how to ask you and if you will accept it. So here we are today, and I'm happy you are with us in the show.
Thank you for having me.
For our listeners, they might not know who are you. I know a little bit yourself and a bit of your journey. Normally people ask what is your journey, where you're coming from. I like to ask, how would you like to tell yourself out there for most of the listener, who is Ich and what it really does?
Sure. So for those who don't know me, I'm an entrepreneur, but mainly I am a leadership trainer. That's my main path of career. I first started off in my journey in entrepreneurship as a clarity coach. So one skill I've developed over time in the coaching aspect is really helping people find clarity, especially young people and the millennials. I find that a lot of those, like myself, when I first started out, before I even found out I was an entrepreneur, I was lost. I was a lost child. I had no idea what I wanted to do. Don't have a clear idea what my vision is, mission, purpose, nothing. I was just like a living zombie. I know many millennials and young people go through their life exactly the same way. So I started off being very inspired by helping them to find clarity for themselves in their life. So that's how I started out. And then eventually I developed a company with my business partner, Jonah Poon, and we specialize now in leadership training. Wow. So there's two aspects. That is, the first one is the inside leadership work, which is a lot to do with self-awareness. Yeah. And the other one is the skills, the leadership skills. Exactly. Right? And we can talk about that later on in further details. But to be a good leader, you got to have the skills to go with it as well. Yeah,
we'll talk today about leadership, and for our listeners out there, there are many young adults. I call them young adults, even they're 40, 50, they're still young adults, which I like that. I always ask, are you considering yourself a young adult? And say yes. We'll talk about later about your what you're doing and how exactly you're helping people. Before that, I would like to go back in time a little bit, traveling a few years back, even if around 5, 10, 15 years back. Where did everything start to make sense for you, and how did you really, what happened in your life that made you choose that journey of growing yourself, really, before you're going to help others? Do you remember any specific event, or who was there that created this change for you?
So there are two events. The first event was when I was around 15, 16, I can't remember the right age, but I was a teenager, and my godfather, who is a very old British Englishman, he was my godfather. He was 24 years older than my dad, so he was 48 years older than me, so he was old enough to be my granddad. He was a very knowledgeable man, very insightful, very wise, very, very clever. And there was one time I was very confused about beliefs, because my mum was a Christian and my dad did not believe in anything. Oof. So you can see me as a child, there's conflict already. Yeah. Is my mum right or is my dad right? Straight. Who do I believe? Like, who do I follow? Wow. So I was very confused child when I was young. So I asked my godfather. His name was Alf, and I said, Alf, what do you believe in? Do you believe in God or anything like that? Because I wanted to get his perspective, and he said to me, what I believe in is none of your goddamn business.
Oh wow. That's
I was shocked.
strong.
But that is powerful because that changed me. Because then he said, it doesn't matter what I believe in. You need to go and find answers for yourself.
Oh wow. I like that.
What I believe in is none of your business. What your mom and your dad believe in is none of your business. Don't just believe what your mom believes. Don't even listen to your dad. If you really want the answers, go out, study science, study every religion,
Wow.
not just Christianity.
Wow.
Study Islam, study Hindu, study everything.
Buddhist.
Find all the answers for yourself.
Wow. That's a good insight.
That
already.
was my first journey.
That's where you start everything.
That was how I started about finding myself, finding about what do I want to become and who do I want to become and who am I? It starts with the belief. It starts with what do I want to believe in and what's true, right? Because I've always been one of those truth seekers, looking for
Yeah,
answers,
truth
looking for how the universe works. I'm always fascinated by physics and
Yeah.
science, and so it took me onto a path of I studied every religious scripture there was. I looked into every culture, every belief system, and that's how I developed one thing, and that is called respect. People can have different beliefs in it. You can believe in something that I don't believe in, but we can still be friends. We can still respect one another. And the first thing for leadership is about respect.
Respect.
If you don't know what respect is, if you can't respect someone for who they are and what they believe in, how can you lead?
Exactly. So you first respect before you go into anything
First
else.
starts with respect.
So is that the way you started your journey to discover yourself, basically, right?
Yes.
It's self-discovery. That's the trying to say.
Part of my self-discovery journey, absolutely.
Very early, 16, 17.
And it's more in the aspect of, just, is there a God? That was the question. Is there
Yeah.
a God out there?
For most people that listen to us, basically, because we say a little bit in here, back in time, we say a bit there, 16, 17s, where most people nowadays, they don't really even find themselves. They may be 40, 50s or more. It's something that, for us, that we already worked early age on this, for different events in our life, luckily or not. But the thing is, how, for those out there, how can we manage to really start to find ourselves, or actually start to discover ourselves? What are some steps, straightforward for those that may think to start this journey, inner journey, discovering yourself? What are some steps?
So I like to go by the Japanese philosophy. They have a beautiful philosophy called the Ikigai.
Wow.
Okay, you can Google this. It's everywhere. There's many TED Talks on the concept of Ikigai. It's a philosophy. It's from the Japanese. And really, the Ikigai is about finding your purpose. Okay? And the Ikigai consists of 4 elements. So I'll just keep it very brief because information is on Google.
Of course.
So it's about knowing what you love,
Right.
knowing what you're good at,
I like that.
and knowing what you want to make a change in the world about. Like, what do you want to change the world for?
Yeah.
And you can make money. If you find the sweet spot of all these 4 things, then you have what they call your meaning, your purpose, your Ikigai.
Wow.
And so the first step for anyone, any young people who want to find themselves, I just say, look at the 4 things. Ask yourself, what is it you love? You've always loved it since childhood.
Yeah.
And you can't get, like, one of the things I still do today is I like to play computer games. I still do.
Good.
I still
That's
do. It's
good.
part of who I am.
Of course.
Right? But not just any computer games.
Yeah.
I love playing role-playing games like Final Fantasy.
Oh.
That's very
okay.
common, right?
That's cool. Yeah, yeah.
But there's a reason for that, because in those kind of games, you start from level 1 and then you level up to 100. You grow a character.
Okay.
And that gives you a clue, because I'm all about growth.
Right.
I'm all about growth, right? So what you love, I'm a musician. For those who don't know me, I like to write music, play the piano.
Wow.
So there's a lot of things that we love. We have to just write these down. Just find out what we love, and then discover what we're good at. What are we really good at? The talents, the skills. You can tell one of the things I'm really good at is talking.
Yeah, very.
Right? And when I was in school, I wouldn't shut up. I used to be one of those troublemakers. The teachers hate me because I wouldn't shut up. I would just But
Talking.
actually, people who love to talk since childhood, they're good at speaking. They're speakers. So public speaking could be one of the skills that they have.
Yeah.
Or even just being a good mediator, a good negotiator, right? These are skills. Communication is a valuable skill that you can discover in yourself.
Wow.
So what you're good at, what you love, and then what if you can change one thing in the world right now, what would that be?
What would that be?
That's what inspires us. That's the mission
Yeah.
part.
To put a fire on.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And making money is the easy part. Because if it doesn't exist, if you can't do what you love and be good at it, and you can't change the world, if you can't find a company that hires you to do that, just be an entrepreneur.
That's it.
And
Simple
then
as
you
that.
can make money that way.
No, we can finish the interview now. All done.
Exactly.
Awesome.
But
Wow.
otherwise, if you're just someone who likes to be employed, then find a company who has all of these free things that you're looking for
To be successful in order to be successful.
to be
basically.
successful
Yeah,
and make
yeah.
because
Wow.
if you're not making money doing what you love, then you can't self-sustain, and you will feel like you're beating yourself up. You're not rewarding yourself.
Yeah. You
at
have
the end
to
of the day.
reward. Yeah, you have to be always be gratificated as well for the work you do. Wow, that's one of the way you started. Wow, in the very early.
That's
age.
one way. There's more ways to discover yourself because there's always. I always say the more you discover yourself, the more you realize you know nothing about yourself.
Actually, do so.
The more you know about yourself, the more
Yeah.
you realize you know nothing,
happens.
and that keeps us humble.
Yeah,
see, that keeps us
Keep
humble.
you grounded and humble. Yeah. Doesn't take you to the ego level that you express.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, people who always think they know it all and they know everything.
Yeah.
And they know themselves.
Yeah.
They don't know anything.
Yeah, pretty much anything. Yeah. Wow, that's a powerful insight. I believe it's already educational what you're saying, not only inspirational if you heard about. So saying that you start in there and the journey will continue, right?
Yeah.
So in order to do so, what else did you do or happen to you to find out you like to become that person to helping others once you find yourself? Did it trigger something? What was that?
Well, one of there was two things. One was my godfather.
Yeah.
The other one was then I didn't really discover out that I was an entrepreneur until I was 27.
Wow.
And the funny thing was I didn't discover that I was a philosopher until I was 27. So being a philosopher means someone who's always looking for answers.
Yeah.
They're looking for like philosophies in life. They just love
Yeah.
philosophy. I'm a philosopher. But the funny thing was I had no idea what a philosopher was. I didn't know what philosophy was. I didn't know that the word entrepreneur exists until I was 27. Talk about being ignorant, right?
Wow,
I was that
yeah,
ignorant kid. And there's a reason for that because I'm Chinese. And my parents are quite old school. So for those who are Asian, you can relate. Your
Yeah.
parents are always saying, get a good degree, study hard,
Yeah.
get a good job, go out there, be a doctor, lawyer, accountant,
Yeah.
whatever, right? And then you make the family proud. I was doing that. So I was just studying hard. I was quite good at maths. Did maths for my A levels and everything, and then I became an accountant.
Okay.
So
Wow.
I kind of like just
Good.
cruise.
Yeah.
You know when you don't
Yeah.
decide for yourself, life decides things
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
And so I got carried on in this boat, and I got drifted further and further away from my purpose
Wow.
until I was 27. And it was until when I was 27, when I was working full time, my work colleague introduced a book to me. It was a book by Plato.
Oh, Plato.
Plato called The Republic. It was about,
Yeah.
and when I started reading it, he said, "This is a philosophy book." I read it and I was hooked. I was just like, this is what I love. Philosophy is what I
He
love.
woke up. He actually woke up.
It woke me up. It
Yeah.
woke one part of me up. And then there was an event that my business partner invited me to. It was a big event where there was multiple speakers on stage. They was talking about business, how to make money, how to become financially free, and how to find your life's purpose. All of that stuff designed to, what you're doing right now
Yeah.
on stage.
Wow.
And I thought, okay, I'll go. I've never been to such an event before, so I'll go.
I tried.
I'll check it out. I'll be an audience. And it was a 3-day event.
Wow.
I sat through the whole 3 days, and my mind was blown because on the third day, I kid you not, on the third day after one speaker spoke, I said, that's what I want to do.
Wow.
I said, I don't know
You
what.
felt again the.
I felt my heart was about to jump out.
It's
It
like a
wanted
urge.
to jump out.
Wow.
And I just said to myself, I'm going to speak on stage one day to inspire an audience. I don't know what I'm gonna be talking about. I have no idea what I'm good at talking about,
Wow.
but what is going to happen? Because that's when I discovered I want to be a speaker. It's part of my purpose to be
It was
a
already
speaker.
within you, but you
Yeah.
didn't find out until that moment in
Yeah.
time. It's such amazing
So
how the way we
I
are.
always tell
sometimes.
people, it's like, and Gary Vee and everyone else says the same thing. A lot of successful people say the same thing. Just go out and explore.
Yeah.
Because I was one of those kids who just didn't do anything to find myself. I didn't go outside right? I'm just stuck to
Yeah.
the traditional route,
Yeah,
the same old
the same.
Chinese cultural. I just do what my parents tell me to do. But
It's
no,
hard.
if I knew that, like if I had children now, I would let them
Push them.
explore everything.
Yeah.
I'll let them.
That's
if
very
they,
good.
I'll just say, "What do you want to learn? You want to learn piano? Dad, I want to learn the piano. Go. Okay.
Cool.
Learn the piano. Learn to, you want to start a business. Let's sell something. Whatever they want to do, I'll encourage them to
support
do,
them now.
because I want them to find out who they are.
Yeah.
And then the only way you can find out who you are is go out there and do a lot of different things.
Right, discovery.
Discover it.
But there is something that I call resistance. Where do you think it's coming from? From our background, from our culture, from our beliefs? That resistance.
There's always resistance.
I felt that in my life when I started my journey early young, I say
Yes.
14, 15. So that resistance is based on how our parents help us to grow up, or is coming from different reasons, or fear or something. What do you think?
There is always a universal force. So resistance, like if you study physics, you know every time
I
you
did.
go for something,
Yeah.
there's an equal force pushing you back.
Yes.
Right? It's universal, it's physics. And so in the subconsciousness, in the mind, in the mental plane, it happens as well. Whenever we're going for something that is true for
Right.
us, there's always going to be resistance.
Right.
And resistance manifests in various different forms. And we can't talk about resistance without talking about tension. One thing I learned about is tension is a universal force. So tension is like an elastic band.
Yeah.
The more you stretch it, and when you let go, it goes very, very far. So it's like like if you ever go to university, you got coursework to do. There's deadlines, right?
Yeah. Always.
When do we do it?
I don't like it.
At the very end.
I remember.
Why? Because at the very end of the deadline, we have to hand it tomorrow. There's tension.
Always.
Massive tension.
Yeah.
And when we don't do something about it, something's going to happen, right?
Exactly.
So-
The consequence it will have.
So we actually don't take actions. As human beings, we're very lazy. Human beings are very, very lazy beings. We don't take action unless there's some sort of a
Yeah,
tension.
we tend to be lazy by nature anyway.
So we need tension in life. But the problem is tension creates resistance, you see, because the elastic band always wants to go back.
Right. Yeah. By nature, as you say, yeah.
Yeah.
Literally.
So
the more you do,
the more you stretch, the more you want to go back.
right.
So
And what would be one way we could keep ourselves open and actually search for it, discovering new things?
so you have to know what you are doing to resist.
Right. Oh, I see.
So one aspect is not just to discover what you like, but in self-awareness work, you have to discover what your resistance are.
wow.
How do you resist? How do we sabotage ourselves? Every time we go for something in life, how do we actually sabotage ourselves? Because
Yeah.
we do.
We do a lot. Yeah.
One of my way is I procrastinate. A lot of people procrastinate, but for me, I know it's a self-awareness thing. I know every time I procrastinate, I'm just creating resistance for myself.
Wow. So
That's
you're
how
aware
I
of it.
resist.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, the thing is that most people are not aware of those things, but when you work on yourself enough to realize that, then you can shift, right?
That's
you can
right.
change.
And you know you're resisting because you're resolving the tension. So you are
It's a
finding
process.
ways to get rid of that tension.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
there's many ways to resist. Sex, drugs, alcohol,
Food maybe. Junk
food,
Yeah.
entertainment,
Yeah.
listen to music too much,
Yeah.
right?
It is.
Or over reading books. Some people procrastinate by
do.
absorbing so much
Too
knowledge.
much.
They read and
I
read
did.
and read,
I
but
did
they don't do
exactly
any
that.
action. They don't take actions,
Yeah.
right? That could be a way as well.
That's not sustainable. It's not building yourself in the
That's
right way.
Being perfect. So people resist in many, many ways depending on your personality
Wow,
type.
I believe this is more than inspiration, this is empowerment already. So thank you for that. Because we have a limited time, I would like to talk with you with hours. I believe in the future we can invite you again. There's a lot to talk about for such a person like him. I mean, you really inspire me, man. I have to say that. And I believe for all audience out there will inspire. Now, coming to the present moment, you've been working so much on yourself to come to this point. I would like you to share with us what you really do, really, and how realistically you help people out there. For those out there that might seek for advice or help, and many out there that would like to find clarity or change their life for better, please tell us what you do and how you can help people at the moment.
Sure. So mainly there's three things I do that I specialize in that clients usually come to me for. One is they want to know themselves more, right? One way to do that is through self-awareness training. And sometimes clients go with more of a one-to-one coaching style. With the coaching, I don't market myself as a coach. It's just what I do sometimes, depending on who wants my help. So I don't market myself as a coach, but I do coach. But the coaching style is very, very different to most coaching styles out there. What I do is I'm just a mirror.
Yeah.
I'm a mirror to your subconsciousness. But the
Wow.
clients who come to me as my students who come to me as a client, I reflect back to them exactly what they need at that moment,
I see what you mean.
whatever it is.
Just a mirror there.
I'm just a mirror. I don't project my own stuff.
Mirroring is one of the coaching thing that it works, and it's the methodology. Yeah.
I never project my own stuff onto them, and I let them have their own free will.
I like that.
So
As a true self-aware.
so they discover who they really are in essence with no filtering. The second thing I do is I help train people in the field of leadership, and mainly the skills. So communication skills is very, very important because communication affects your relationship, your career, and everything. So I help train people in that, and I also last one is entrepreneurship.
Oh,
So I help people who want to become an entrepreneur. How do you become an entrepreneur? Through your ikigai.
yeah.
So we discover your
wow.
ikigai first. And then if you really want to create a business from your ikigai, which is going to be very unique, you have a very different ikigai than most people. So how do we create business around that? So
How do you make
those are
money,
the three
basically? How
things.
do you monetize?
How do you monetize it? And how do you become an entrepreneur? And or just make money.
It's quite complex the way you help people out there. For those who are listening to us, obviously, he's a very competent and expert in that and doing so already for many years. Now, saying so, are you doing yourself in person, live, online? And what other ways are courses or programs? What do you do? Books, or how do you do that?
So now, ever since the pandemic, 2020, now everything I do is online.
So online streaming.
So it's all virtual. So coaching is through Zoom, for example. It's very simple. Training can be done through Zoom as well.
Zoom as well.
So everything can be done online. If someone really need to see me one-to-one basis, I can do that as well, depending on the location.
You are able to do so, right?
Yes.
Within London or
Within London.
Mainly. What is a part of everything you do that motivate you most? What even if let's say you would be able to do it for free, what would you do? What would be that thing that you feel like doing it?
So my mission is creating the next generation of leaders.
Wow, that's a big mission.
I'm writing a book right now, for example. Okay, I haven't got a title for the book yet, but I'm writing that book to help people get clarity in life. So everything that I do in essence of my coaching, I've put it into a book. I'm writing it into a book. And this is how I do it. What motivates me and inspires me to write that book is I'm writing this for my nephew.
Wow.
Who's only 4 years old.
That's big.
Free, coming to 4 years old this year.
That's big.
I have two nephews. One's 4, one's coming to 2. And they are what inspire me.
Wow.
Because we talk about leaving something behind.
Yes.
I'm very simple. I don't want to be someone like a legendary hero to leave something for everyone.
Yeah.
If I can leave something for my nephew, if he can pick up the book one day, if I'm just, touch wood, I'm still around, but if I'm never around anymore because of accidents, he can pick up the book one day and said, "Thank you, Uncle."
That's a true.
So everything I do, even in the way I work, I think about the next generation. I think about young people, the children.
How did you come with this idea of creating the next generation of leaders? What I try to say is that we live in this society now, in this generation, but obviously we hope that things will change. But in order to change, we need to do something, right?
Yes.
To take action, as you mentioned before, even the show started.
Yes.
What do you think our generation or the young adults nowadays need in order to become the next generation of leaders? What would be the few skills they need to develop? If you could share at least 3 skills that you could share with us about leadership,
Sure.
yeah, how they can start implementing. Maybe they're watching us and they want to become that person. They are looking for, searching. At least 3 skills on leadership that you think they may need to become that person.
Sure. So the skills and a way of thinking. Okay.
Right.
So the way of thinking, you do that through social media. You just leave. There's too much information out there.
Right.
So I don't believe in leaving content, leaving information anymore. I believe in leaving in wisdom for them to pass down. So I like
Wow.
to tell stories.
Yeah,
So
living wisdom.
A lot of my
Right.
content is based on story forms, so
like
that they
that.
can take it away and they can interpret it however they want, but the message is inside. So with regarding the skills, there's 3 skills I believe to be, there's many leadership
Many,
skills,
obviously.
but these are my top 3.
Yeah.
As a leader, you must have communication.
Right.
You need to be a great communicator.
Yeah.
Coaching.
Yeah.
You need to know how to coach
Yeah.
someone.
Wow.
Like if you're in a team
Yeah.
or even in your workplace or even as a boss, you need to learn how to coach someone. And facilitating.
Oh, facilitating, obviously. Yeah.
So facilitating is more like facilitating large group. How
Large
do you
group of
facilitate a large group dynamic
Yeah,
so that
that's-
it doesn't go into chaos
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everyone's following one vision and you as that facilitator, you
structure
can
and a
guide them without,
yeah.
without like not like being a general. It's like
Yeah.
soldiers,
Yeah.
execute, give me that. No,
Yeah.
it's not none of
Just
that. How do you
passively-
inspire people
yeah,
to
yeah,
follow?
Passively, yeah.
So these are the 3 essential skills I believe.
Wow. This is already, as I say, empowerment. Money Space Show, we inspire, you can empower. You already empower through that. So I believe most of us out there, we even if you know about this, but we didn't practice it, is a reminder that actually we have to apply this in order to become what we want. How do you describe leadership in your own words? It's big.
I subscribe to Confucius' way of leadership. And Confucius says this: leadership is simply about being human being.
Oh wow. Simple as that.
Simple as that.
Because you try to understand how to make it work and put all those things. It's simple as that.
Most people who are in leadership position these days
Yeah.
are not leaders.
Are
They're just in the role of a leader.
Right.
But they're in the position of a leader, but they don't have the skills, they don't have the essence, they don't have anything to be a leader. Because you're not a real leader until someone says, that's my leader.
Wow.
You're not. You can
Right.
call yourself a leader,
Right.
but until your followers say,
Yeah.
that's my leader, you're
That's
not.
what you define.
Yeah. It's like saying, I'm a dad, but until you have a child, you're not really a dad.
So your son equal your dad to realize you're actually a dad.
Yeah.
All right.
So it's the same thing. Like, you're not a leader until someone says that he's my leader.
right.
He's our leader. Right?
Right.
So in order to get to that place, you got to develop yourself to have the skills and the mindset of a leader and the heart of a leader, most importantly. And like I said, going back to what Confucius says, leadership really is about being human being.
Being human.
How can you just be human? Respect. Going back to the fundamental. Respect.
basics, basically.
Understanding, empathy.
Yeah.
How to communicate like a human being.
Cooperate. Yeah. Exactly. Wow. I believe we try to sophisticate things and actually make complicate them. And I think it's our nature of our mind works. But when you come back to, you talk about wisdom. How realistic is to apply wisdom to millennials? Let's speak openly for those who are, we know that many of them are lost out there. They don't have direction. How we can apply wisdom in nowadays society?
That's a very good question. I don't know. I actually don't have an answer for that.
Very hard.
It's very hard.
I thought about it.
Because first of all, to apply wisdom, you have to understand the wisdom.
Right.
You have to get it first, right? If you don't have that wisdom, if you don't get it, you can't apply it. So the first step is actually getting the wisdom. But how do you get wisdom?
The first stage, you mean?
The first stage is to get wisdom. How do you
Right.
get wisdom? You can't get wisdom if you don't have reference. This is something I learned from my spiritual teacher. He said many people don't get wisdom, they don't understand, and they don't evolve, they don't grow because they don't have the reference to grow.
Wow.
And reference meaning, I'll give you an example. If you're a blind person, you've never seen the color red before,
Yeah.
you will never understand what red looks like.
Yeah. Fair enough.
You don't have the reference for it.
Oh.
If you never tasted something sweet in your life, I can tell you, oh, this this lollipop tastes so good,
Yeah.
tastes sweet,
Yeah.
and you're like, what's sweet?
What?
I can talk to you for days about it. You won't get it
Yeah.
because you don't have the experiential reference.
Right. Okay.
And that's what wisdom is. If you don't have an experience,
Yeah.
that reference to give you that wisdom, you will never have it. And that's why there's a, we have a saying as well, and that's some people just got to learn the hard way.
Oh yeah. But mainly we hard way. We learn the hard way.
Some people just have to learn the hard way
because we don't have the reference.
because they have to get the reference first.
Right. Well, we speak about millennials. I mean, this generation for young adults. How important is in everyday life the communication skills? We know that we don't learn that from families, right? And neither from maybe corporate world because that's the way mainly designed nowadays the world. Where they can start to implement how their communication skills through books, through mentor courses, where they can find help with that.
So communication skills,
Where you have to
there's
start.
many trainings out there. I can make a lot of recommendations. There's many resources you can start to develop communication. But if I really want to boil down communication as something that you should learn, is just learning how to listen first.
Wow.
Really,
This communication starts with listening.
it starts with listening.
Wow, that's cool.
80% listening.
I like that.
We have 2 ears
It's
and
a-
one mouth, so listen
It's
twice.
double as twice.
Double.
Oh my god.
Right, even right now, you're a great communicator because you're listening to everything I'm talking about, and then you know what to ask me. That's how we should do it.
Wow. That's actually we practice that.
Right.
Really, you're right.
So, and I used to be with someone who just didn't know how to listen, and so obviously that relationship didn't work.
Didn't work out.
So it starts with listening.
Listening. Wow. It's everything from there,
Listen.
basically.
There's a famous quote, memes saying out there right now, and that is, a lot of people, they don't listen to understand, they listen to respond.
Yeah, we do.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem with
It's an issue,
young
right?
people, millennial, modern people
Right.
in modern day society. They just want to talk. They just
Yeah.
want to, they just want to respond. They're not really listening.
Understand, but to respond.
But if you listen, if you're really curious,
that's-
so that's the second thing. You have to be curious.
Oh, curiosity.
If you're not curious about that
Listening,
other person,
yeah.
why are you spending time with that person?
I'm very curious about it.
Right? So you have to be curious
Yeah.
so that you can listen.
Yeah. Actively listen. I mean, to
Actively
understand,
listen.
not to just give an answer back.
Right.
So listening, curiosity.
And then
wow.
the last one, very important, and that is, how do you actually express yourself?
So self-expression.
Self-expression,
Wow.
especially when there's conflict in
Yeah.
the situation. Let's just say I have a problem with you
Yeah.
and I need to tell you about it. How will I say that without offending you or without there being a
Right.
fight? This happens a lot with parents.
Conflict, yeah.
Children wanting to speak to their parents, they don't know how. Oh, my dad doesn't listen anyway, he's just going to tell me to shut up. Right?
Yeah.
Romantic partners, without getting into an argument, how can you express yourself, your
Without-
different point of view, without having
Getting that conflict.
getting into a fight with one another?
Wow.
In workplaces, how do I express myself if I have a concern to my manager, to my boss, to the senior arm, without without getting my career in jeopardy?
Wow.
Conflict. How to manage conflict? How do you express yourself?
Wow. So self-expression is important.
Very important.
Curiosity is very important. And as you say, the main thing, listening. I mean, everything starts from there.
That's
Listening.
right. Yeah.
We know the time is limited and we like to go for hours and hours. I really like our conversation. Yet time is limited, and I want to ask you a question that really make you reflect on that. I know who you are now, and there is anyone specifically would you like to thank for supported you, guided you, being creating impact in your journey for you to become and shape the way you are today? Any mentor, anyone specifically? Now you have the chance to say thank you probably to that person if you feel like, or if it's anyone specific.
Well, I want to thank you first for being in my
Thank you.
life.
No, thank you. That's
So
a small part.
I mean, like I always say, who hasn't taught me something? Who hasn't inspired me? Everyone. Everyone. So but if there is a few names that will always remain in my heart, and that is my godfather, who's passed away. So he was my very first mentor.
Bless. Yeah.
My godfather. My mum has always been there to support me no matter
Oh,
what.
bless.
She always worries, but she's
Yeah,
always
he's
there to
support.
support.
Yeah.
And my dad, who has passed. My dad actually is the most negative monkey in my life. He's the one that drags me down, criticizes me. but I still thank him. Then there's a reason why, because
I like that.
if it wasn't because of him, I wouldn't be who I am today.
Wow, that's powerful. I can take away this.
Yes.
Wow.
And there's many mentors out
Obviously,
there.
yeah.
that,
But I wanted to highlight this.
Yeah.
And I'm happy and glad that you really open up to say so. We don't really recognize all the time people in our life that actually have the play the bad roles, and we name only the good ones, right? But we have to give credit to those
Yes.
too. And I'm empathizing with doing that, and then we have to do so. And I always say thank you. And people ask me, "Why do you say thank you when he did that to you?" And this and that. I say, "Yeah,
Because they teach us a
yeah,
lesson.
exactly." And we are who we are because of
Yeah.
that.
They
So
make
that's
us better.
I call this, and I have to take from you like wisdom. I call this wisdom.
This is wisdom.
This is wisdom.
This is
That's
it.
the way we apply
This is the wisdom.
and I like that.
Heartbreaks are wisdoms.
Exactly.
We learn wisdom through heartbreaks.
Exactly. Otherwise, it wouldn't be wisdom. I mean, we can't get to understand wisdom. Maybe this will be another subject for the future. Yeah. What I would like to ask you now is where people can connect with you.
Sure.
If they would like your support or guidance or actually advice or how where they can connect.
So I'm on Instagram and I'm on LinkedIn and on Facebook. If you just search my name, Ich Loc, you will find me. If you Google my name, Ich Loc, you find all of my social media platforms, so you can connect with me through there. I'm more active on Instagram with like if I don't know you, if you message me through Instagram, I'm more likely to respond. Facebook is usually just friends and family, and more professional stuff on LinkedIn. But those are the ways people can contact me.
That's great, because I believe after this session, really there will be an urge. I feel an urge to get in contact with you, even not necessarily working with you, but at least inspired from you. Even I highly recommend work with Ik. I remember back in 2-3 years time, I don't want to be wrong, when I approached you, Ik, I think I need some clarity. Remember I talk about that, and I knew what I wanted to do, but I wasn't sure. I needed someone to touch some sports, which you really did. And I remember since then I started working on myself even more, and what you inspired me was on spiritual side work on more on myself, rather than learning and then reading and everything is important yet, but the most important is you, how you deal with yourself and how you work on yourself. Yeah, before I'm going to the end, I would like to ask you one more thing, which is the main thing I believe from this, and I would like our listeners to take away something. What would be a message from your heart, Ich, for our listeners out there that you want them to take away from us today? If you can tell them something that will guide them later on and they could remember maybe ever and ever, something that is really close to your heart, a simple message, an empowering message, please, whatever you feel like. Could be anything.
I have many, but I guess the one that really inspires me to this day is about inner peace, and that is so I'll give you a little bit of background. As I would not trade my inner peace that I have right now for anything. No, it's priceless. No amount of money that you can give me right now, that I would sacrifice my inner peace right now. And you know, there's a funny saying, a lot of people rest in peace when they die. Why must we rest in peace? Why can't we live in peace now?
Yeah, I like that.
So, and like I said, like you said, right? It took a lot of inner work for me. It took a lot of inner work for me to work on myself to really get to this state where I'm really at peace with my life. And I just wish everyone can just get to this state, because we start at peace. We were born with peace, and then life happened, and then life became chaotic. So, if I could say one thing, I would just say this. We have free will. Don't project your own will on other people. Don't project your stuff onto other people, and just learn to live. And just learn to live through your own choices. So always choose. You always have choice. That's the message. We always have a choice.
But respect the free will.
But respect everyone else's free will.
Wow.
Don't project and don't manipulate. Don't try to get. If someone don't want to do it, don't make them.
Let them be, right?
Let them be. That's it. Let them be. Let yourself be, and let others be.
Yeah, wow. I believe that I'm actually charging myself for true wisdom when I'm speaking with you, and inspiration, and as I say, education, and mainly empowerment. Thank you so much for...
Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, for being with us. Thank you for your time, for your knowledge, for your life experiences, and I hope to see you again in our show. Yeah, that was Monday Inspiration Show with Ich Loc. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. My name is Yono Tsunguriano, and I will see you next Monday with the next Monday Inspiration Show. Do you all your best, and remember always live, love, dream. Thank you so much. Bye. Designed to inspire, educate, and empower young adults around the world. Welcome to the Monday Inspiration Show.